A deadly helicopter crash has put a renewed spotlight not only on stricter flight regulations, but raising questions about non-essential helicopter movements above the city, around the city. Should they be happening at all? Stop the Chop is a local advocacy group that's been pushing to eliminate non-essential helicopter flights. They put out a statement following the crash yesterday. In part, they said it was just a matter of time before another such dreadful tragedy occurred. Mayor Eric Adams and New York City Economic Development Corporation should without delay suspend all sightseeing and commuter helicopters from the two city-owned heliports. They said there will be more as long as we continue to allow tens of thousands of completely non-essential helicopter flights. Melissa Elstein is the board chair of Stop the Chop, New York and New Jersey. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Thank you for inviting me.
This is a tragedy, but the view of many is that this is predictable. It was a matter of time.
Predictable and preventable. We've been asking for these non-essential helicopter flights to be banned since Stop the Chop was formed in 2014.
You have, it's been something of a two-pronged attack. One has been on safety and one has been on noise. Which of those seems to get the most traction with politicians?
Well, probably the safety, because, I mean, you look at every time there's a tragedy like this. I mean, in 2018, there was that horrific Fly Nyan crash into the East River. 5 tourists died as well in that crash. And so there ends up being a lot of publicity. And then there's a rush to introduce legislation, but so far no bills have passed. And we are advocating for legislation to ban the non-essentials. And let's remember that the non-essentials include sightseeing and commuter helicopters. All of that being that those are unnecessary ways in which to sightsee or commute to the airports or to the Hamptons. There's other safer and more environmentally friendly ways to do such commutes or sightseeing jaunts.
I think we've all been in a situation where you're getting buzzed somewhere by a helicopter. It's like when will that thing go away? And it's somewhat different if you know there's a police incident.
Of
and
course.
It's the NYPD overhead.
No, I think my first reaction when I hear it is, oh no, what's going on? Maybe that's just like my news brain is, oh, there's something newsy happened. But what about the business of it? Because there is a bit of an economic boom with it, especially for parts of Lower Manhattan that also someone comes for a helicopter tour and then they go and they do all kinds of other things in that neighborhood.
Well, we don't believe there's a boom, first of all, with regard to these tours, that there's many other ways that tourists are sightseeing around New York City and seeing Broadway shows, for example.
You think they would spend the money
Yes,
elsewhere?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because before sightseeing tours by helicopter were even here, New York City was always like a #1 sightseeing spot, right? We're the greatest city in the world. We have Broadway, we have beautiful park, Central Park.
You know, we have the top of the Empire State Building if you want to see the city from high above.
Yes, and now we have the Edge as well. We have a multitude of observation decks. So we also discount the numbers that the EDC has testified about the economic benefits. And in fact, on the April 16th hearing in front of the City Council, and that was last year with regard to a plethora of bills that were introduced, they admitted that the biggest financial benefit was the purchase of the fossil fuels that actually, fuel these helicopters. And so that's not a benefit. That's a contributor to climate change and to even more pollution over our city.
You're on the Upper West Side,
Yes.
So you're not near one of the heliports directly. What made you decide to go after this issue?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So it's not just the noise pollution and the air pollution at the heliports, and there's just three in Manhattan, all below 30th Street, and then there's others in New Jersey and Long Island, etc. But I was jogging with my husband around the Central Park Reservoir, and like you, Jamie, I heard helicopters hovering and circling, and I thought, like you,
Something's going on.
I thought a child had drowned in the reservoir, and then this kept happening. And also I noticed that the Hudson River seemed to be an ongoing procession of helicopters. And so we started Googling and investigating, and that's when we realized that these are both sightseeing from New York City and New Jersey, as well as the commuters. And, New York City, including EDC, they like to point the finger to New Jersey, to that company Fly Nyan, which I mentioned, the crash in 2018.
Well, there's a gap in jurisdiction that because it's a federally regulated business, no matter what the city council tries to do, you could, in theory, tell me what you're going to say.
Well, yeah, so the FAA controls the airspace, and federal bills that have been introduced and not passed by Congress members Nadler and Velasquez and Maloney if passed, would have created a full flyover ban in the New York metro area, just like Disneyland and Disney World actually have. They got that after the September 11th attacks. But there are local solutions. Do you know in the late 1990s, Mayor Giuliani completely closed what was the fourth heliport, East 60th, because of all the complaints there. So these heliports can be closed. Also, there's pending legislation by our council member and majority leader, Amanda Farias, to ban all the non-essentials from the two city-owned heliports, so it's East 34th Street and the downtown heliport. We also believe that the concession agreements can be ended with just 30 days notice. So they're concession agreements. So the city can end those. You mentioned 311. There were close to 60,000 helicopter complaints 2 years ago. And those numbers don't even accurately describe the noise pollution and the safety issues, because people give up after a while. Like, nothing's been happening, so people stop calling 311. So we know that the complaints are even greater than that.
Yeah, and there's some new pressure after this incident. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having us, and our hearts go out to the families of the victims and the pilot, and also thanks to the first responders for what they did yesterday. It's a horrible tragedy.
Yeah, you're right.
Tragic.
The NYPD and fire department divers in the water within minutes.
That's right.
Going down to see if they could rescue anybody. Thank you. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest news and weather updates every 10 minutes and more. We'll see you then.